Hello, my name is Jen Seeger, and I'm the Partner Profitability Lead for the Worldwide Partner Group. I'm joined today by Stephen Parker from rhipe. Stephen, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure.
So I'd love to kick off this session just by talking a little bit about your business.
So rhipe have been, I suppose the best way to describe it, is a born-in-the-cloud licensing aggregator. We started in 2003 with the SPLA program, which some of the audience may remember and recognize. And since then, those 12 years, we've been dealing exclusively with service providers, helping them meet the opportunity and gain the value out of this cloud world that we're living into. And I have to say, we're very excited now that we're basking in glow of success, knowing that we were right. This was a fantastic opportunity, and we've been on that journey.
That's great. And you recently joined the CSP program. So can you talk a little bit about what you think that's going to do for your business?
So I think it's great that Microsoft have actually come to market with a program that's actually designed from scratch to work for the cloud, for cloud partners, and put the channel right back in the middle of that conversation where they always should be. Right. That's the asset. And so we're very excited. We were announced earlier on this year as a Tier 2 partner in Australia. We launched officially on July 1, and it's been fantastic. The partner take-up has been awesome, and it's had a really, really good feedback from the partners about the program.
That's great. So what type of partner are you looking for?
So we represent or look after and support 1,500 partners across Asia. We operate in 7 countries in Asia. And those partners have traditionally been, I'd call service providers, and they might have had an SI background, an ISV background, a hoster. So those are our partners. That's our DNA. We work through that channel, a channel-first company.
Right.
And now we're going to those where they want to add value to their customer solutions with that focus on what the customer wants. And so that's our customer. Those channel guys who actually get that the customer wants the outcome.
That's right. And so what types of things are you doing to add value to the partners who work with you?
So I guess one of them is absolutely as a licensing distributor, we make sure that they get the right license. Right. And that seems odd to say that, but if you think about a world of traditional enterprise on-premise licensing, once every 3 years, a really great conversation happens. The conversation is about the promised future value of that license, and the transaction's done.
Right.
If the transaction wasn't right, bad luck some ways.
Right.
The licensing is already paid for. Whereas in our world, if the partner takes a solution to the customer that's wrong, the customer stops paying.
That's
right. It's absolutely critical that in our service to our partners, that we're offering the right advice about the right license to make sure that that license fit for purpose, because the more they buy, the more they pay us.
Yes.
And that creates a very honest transaction. And that's where we've come from, and now there's much more about support with marketing, supporting our customers, our partners with their go-to-customer events, doing call downs on their behalf to help them do telemarketing activities. So it really is being that support to the channel so they can be successful in the market.
Right. What are some of the most successful marketing techniques you guys are using?
So it's a real mix, and there's lots of talk about the digital. And I think for some companies that actually just is too far. So you end up doing some stuff that's fairly basic. Some companies just have no marketing skills whatsoever, and simply having some marketing activities is great. But certainly from the digital perspective, helping them put together those plans about how do you reach out to your customers? What is a sensible strategy? From a social media perspective, should you be just going out there and doing Twittering every 30 seconds? Well, it depends. If your customers don't sit on Twitter, that's probably not the right place to be. Right. Maybe if all your customers are farmers and they're in a field, maybe your social activities actually have to be going to the farm fairs. Right. If your people are engineers, then maybe you start talking to them in forums on LinkedIn, because that might be the right place for them. Right. So it's helping them understand where their customer's listening, so that they can have that engagement, whether it be digital or physical, that's right for them and right for their customers.
That's right, yeah. It's a tough transition to make to the cloud. I mean, I think, what would you say is the biggest struggle you've seen from partners that are making this transition?
I think there's so much really, really good stuff that we've done as an industry for 20, 30 years. We've got this idea, this diagram to try to explain it, called the bow tie diagram.
Okay.
And it sort of says all of our skills in the past have started over here, which is the customer's got some vague interest, and lots of effort goes in from both sides to convince everybody of some future promised value. And when that's been agreed, the transaction occurs, the middle of the bow tie. At the end of the day, at that point, it's only when that gets delivered in the future that we find out if the promise was real. It's a kind of buyer beware world.
Right.
Whereas the transition, and lots of great people in that businesses, but when you come over to the other side, actually, let me deliver something quick now that works. Because if it does, you'll pay next month.
That's right.
And you'll pay next month. and you'll pay next month. So in this world, on the other side of the bow tie, it's all about the delivery of the realized value, not promised value.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that realized value.
You have partners then have an opportunity to increase their average revenue per user and think about tacking on additional solutions. But you're right. I mean, I think it is that first project that they need to get their foothold in, and then they think about this customer will grow over time. I can add new services, add more value.
Yeah, and I think we heard that yesterday in some of the sessions you were running, which is that not just the 1 year time frame or the sell today time frame, close this quarter. It's saying, how do we actually live with that partner together, that customer, for 3, 4, 5 years? What's the program to keep adding value to them, to earn the right to have more of their wallet? And it might not be IT services.
Right.
It might be that you turn around and say, well, look, we've got some really great lawyers who we work with, who on a subscription basis will keep your HR contracts working for all of your staff.
Right.
Why is that relevant? Well, you're letting people work at home. You're letting people, that's their office, the 1 square metre around them. That changes what you as an employer have as a responsibility. Are your contracts up to date?
Right.
So a partner can now say, I'll give you the IT, but I'll also sell you the other services that make it work.
Right.
That becomes a rich, engaging conversation you can have with the customer.
Yeah, certainly. I think another really great tactic is for partners to deploy IP in those environments and actually add value in that way.
Yeah.
Have you seen an evolution of partners going in that direction that you've been working with?
Absolutely, and I think it's back to that real cultural shift. If you think about, and I'm sure, once again, many of the guys will remember this, if you're paid by the number of hours you sit in a customer site, you're not going to walk in with all your IP on a thumb drive, put it in the side of the computer, press a button, and 30 seconds later, the job's done. Because the customer's going to say, well, have $10, thank you, and leave.
Right.
You want to make it last a long time. There
right.
was no real incentive to automate. Now, in a world where you're charging that fixed monthly service fee, you want to minimize your costs. So automating everything is critical.
Absolutely.
And so we're seeing people automate, wrap that IP up, use it over and over again. Whether they become ISVs is a different kettle of fish altogether, but they will end up taking that IP and they'll make themselves more efficient by lowering their underlying delivery cost.
That's right. I don't think that partners have to build a full-on, monolithic ISV application. I think sometimes when we talk about IP, people think that's what we're referring to. No. It can be as simple as a workflow on SharePoint.
Absolutely.
Something like that. So have you seen any great examples in your channel of partners doing this?
Yes, I mean, obviously in Australia, the mining boom has been huge, and health and safety is a massive issue there. And you think about what would have happened in the past. HR would have printed off lots and lots of letters, which would have gone out into the field. Would the person at the end in the field actually get the letter and read it? And even if they did the HR department know? Whereas now, if they can upload it onto the SharePoint site, a simple workflow that triggers an email to all members of staff, who obviously will be having Office 365.
Of course.
Of course. I can't say any other names. They will have Office 365. That will give them an alert that a message has arrived, that email. Click on the link, see the message from HR about health and safety, click I've read it. The company has now been seen to do the right thing, but they have done the right thing. Customers and staff have read the message.
Right.
That's simple and trivial. It's an app.
Right.
It's not a full-blown solution.
Right.
But we're seeing things like that happening.
Yeah, I think one of the most common ways I've seen this happen is partners will start to build up a set of customers within a specific vertical. They realize, oh gosh, my customers are all asking for something like this, and it's 90% the same. And then they can take that idea, monetize it, create a package solution, and then sell that on a recurring revenue basis.
Absolutely. And I think the interesting thing in that model, if you get it right, is almost this micro-niching, where you say, well, look, I might have created a solution for accountants. But a lawyer is probably going to see that solution as viable in their space because similar issues, matter management. Or I happen to be in creating a solution for hairdressers. Well, maybe the local dog grooming salon will see that that's a viable solution for them.
That's right.
So these sort of niches and then selling to an adjacent niche, that becomes a really powerful way of expanding your offering.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the other thing that we see too is that as partners start to build out those vertical expertise, they're actually able to command a higher price point for their services.
Oh, 100%. I think that's back to that point of if the VAR and the clue was in the name is selling a product first, reselling a product and adding services on later, they worry about how on earth with a $10 SKU, if I had 50%, I might get $15 a month.
Right.
There's no business here. Whereas the MSP who's saying, I'm solving a business outcome first, we're seeing people earning $100, $200 a month for each user. Now that's just because of the mindset shift of saying, I want to deliver the service outcome first.
That's right. So what differentiates your business from others that are entering the space right now?
So I think part of it is that born in the cloud DNA. And there's lots of talk about that. We have had to transform all the time, reinventing the value and value add for our customers. But it is that born in the cloud DNA. We definitely get the challenges that partners have when they're making that transformation. From the very top, from the most senior execs all the way down into our accounting department, into our back-end services teams, they get the cloud model. And so maybe this isn't quite right, but in Europe there was this great advert from Stella Artois, which was all about Stella Artois, reassuringly expensive.
Okay.
Now, I'm not suggesting we're expensive, but we're reassuringly good because we understand the business model. And therefore, we don't want to be in the market as being cheap. We'll just clip the ticket at the lowest possible price. We want to be delivering value to our customers. Because if we don't, just like our customers don't have a business if all they're doing is going cheap, if we don't add value, then we don't have a business with our customers. We don't have that trusted advisor relationship. And that isn't just about the licenses, it's about how they go to business.
That's right.
For example, I actually will work with our partners to deliver their 2 customer events.
Oh, wow.
We'll do market research as a service with them. So we'll actually say, here's some funding, we'll actually do some research with you, we'll identify a good target, we'll now help you take that message to market. That might be through a digital media process, it might be through physical events, but that's the service we'll add on top of it. That's where we add value, that's where we differentiate. And we're constantly looking for the services that our customers need, that we as their service provider, the service provider to the channel, we will then go and get those services, partner with those services, partner with other vendors. This may be sacrosanct, but I actually do know that we work with other partners than Microsoft to sell their licensing programs. Sorry to say. But they're all complementary. Citrix, VMware, I know it's terrible, but VMware, we've got Trend, we've got Veeam, we've got, and I'm going to miss some, DataCore, who's the other one, Zimbra, Red Hat. All of these are complementary services that enable our partners to offer the right service to their customer.
Right, yeah. I think that's a great strategy. I understand there are other players out there in the market, but it is important that you can aggregate all those things together and allow your partners to then take that out to their customers. So it makes a lot of sense.
And again, it's the great thing because that's what we're now hearing from Satya Nadella on stage. That wouldn't, 2-3 years ago, the comments we're hearing today wouldn't be occurring at all. So we're in the right space. We're now aligning with our most valuable partner. You're still, by some way, our biggest percentage. And the crazy thing is, every time we try to bring a new vendor on to diminish our reliance upon you guys, turns out that pulls more Microsoft revenue through.
Well,
so
keep doing it. Keep doing it. Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for all of the insights you shared. I think you guys are doing a great job and are very uniquely positioned to do a fantastic job and knock it out of the park with CSP. So thanks so much for your time.
My pleasure. And again, very, very excited to be here and working with Microsoft.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.